paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Brainstorm Brewery Fireside
Corbin, you're gonna hello
Chat.
everybody? Everybody, including the Nazis. Wow.
Including
okay.
Kanye West. Wow.
Including Kanye West, Corbin. That's how you know.
Podcaster shouts out Kanye West at beginning of episode.
I just wanted to welcome in all of our listeners. We don't know who they are.
Could be
I
Kanye
would
West.
like to
Well, that's
welcome
just bad
them
marketing
in.
on your part.
Yeah, man.
You don't know
To-
your listeners? You don't know any of our listeners.
Nobody.
Jesus
I know
Christ.
that they're here at our Fireside Chat, listening to how we plan to address the future. And to all of you concerned that we are putting out too much content, and you are worried that we will devalue the existing content, I'll have you know we're going to record a bonus episode. Boom! Devalued.
Your episode stonks are in shambles.
I didn't know
It's
values
actually
could go
a
below zero.
shambles, not in shambles. Did you know that?
It's what, Jason?
It's a shambles.
No.
I believe
is it?
that weirdly.
I'm with Jason on this one. Is it?
A little timey, but like
This is
Yeah.
like
No.
an artificer kind of like knowledge revelation where it's like
It's just one of those things where, like, I hear it and it's like, oh, it's actually champing at the bit and stamping ground, and now I know that, and I can't unknow it. So, just every idiom that everybody says wrong irks me. I wish I didn't have that kind of brain, because my life has never been improved by knowing it's actually champing at the bit. I haven't been on a Quiz Bowl team since I was 17, so I don't know. It's
What about-
useless knowledge?
it's not
couldn't
irks me.
care less?
it's not irks me.
No, it's irks me.
Irks.
Uh,
Irks.
Okay, so my little chime in on this is I am now hyper aware of the difference between less and fewer grammatically.
Yeah.
Good. You should be.
So every time I see like, oh, I'm playing like 3 less Urza sagas, no, it's I'm playing 3 fewer Urza
Get
sagas.
Ten
it
items or
right,
less
people. It's not
bothers
hard.
me.
I always get my fiance over nauseous versus nauseated.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that's a great one. People get mad when you explain that.
Yeah.
You're ruining
go
like,
on.
their entire life.
Nauseous means that you're making the people around you sick, and nauseated means that you're sick, I think.
Correct.
Okay.
So when people say I'm nauseous, what they really mean is I'm nauseated.
Good.
When
to
they say
know.
I'm nauseous, they mean they're making everybody else sick, which is true.
But like I said, you explain that one to people, and they're not like, oh, whatever. They get.
You know
mad.
why they're confused?
You
Because
can't
the
tell
word
people that one.
nauseating exists. So why does the word
Yeah.
nauseating need to exist if nauseous means nauseating?
How was I supposed to know that
So
flammable and
adults.
inflammable meant the same thing?
Yeah, explain this to adults. They're gonna go, whatever. I could care less.
I mean, there are people that think COVID is fake, so like you're not going to explain to them that it's actually, stamping ground. I mean,
Champing
you can
ground.
try.
So yeah, if you don't know what we're referring to, Hasbro, the CEO of Hasbro, had a fireside chat to break down all the complaints that BofA raised about Magic. And that's a real thing we can say, is that Chris Cox had a meeting to address the BofA allegations.
Getting Cox and BofA in the same room, just even in a really tight space like that.
Just factually what happened. That's all.
It's not
So
hard.
we're
to
allowed
get,
to say
it's
that.
not hard to get
legally.
Cox in a space like that, but fitting in BofA, it's really difficult.
I checked with legal. We're good.
We're good.
Yeah, so they we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, as you might notice, I'm Corbin Hosser. We got the whole crew here: Douglas D.J. Johnson, Jason Alt, and we have Cass here as well. How is it going tonight, everybody?
I am
Good,
returned
great, that's what I
from
like to
Eternal
hear. Now-
Weekend.
Oh.
There was a big a tournament for people with back pain in Philadelphia this weekend, and I was there, and I bought Magic cards, and I sold some Magic cards. I saw some very cool stuff. It's very hard to see cool things in this industry once you're in it long enough. I saw a beta Mox Pearl artist proof be transacted.
That's pretty neat.
By one of my favorite people. That was very cool. Beta Tropical Island artist proof. Shout out to Ristic Studies, who just released a wonderful artist proof video. If you have not seen that, go check it out. Our shirts are on the same website as his. What do you want us to say?
Well, how was Eternal Weekend? From your vending perspective. Hey, there you go. It's nice.
It was a slow-ish show. We only had 4 people at the booth, but I feel like we were appropriately staffed. It is for those who don't know, Eternal Weekend is the biggest paper gathering of Legacy and Vintage every year. They give out very big, oversized trophies of reserved list cards. Like, whoever wins gets like this giant oversized time walk.
They also get a regular sized ponder now.
A regular sized ponder. The buy list offers were $4,000 to $5,000 in the room, I believe.
Yep. I saw a Gush sold for like 3.4 thousand. That was the vintage top 8 card.
Yeah. These are legal cards that only a 2-digit number of them exist, which is very cool.
24.
Yeah, that is really neat.
I did get pictures of both of them to post to Twitter and say that I was adding them to my sealed pre-release promo deck.
I mean,
just to deal some psychic damage.
I have a line on a ponder if you want it. I can make that happen for you. You're worth it.
I passed on a sealed in the pack wasteland last year at Vegas for 300, so that's where I'm at on the.
Sure.
I probably should have bought it, but
yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, speaking of cards you should have bought, it's my breaking bulk, which is going to be the best of the week as it always is. But that's what we're going to do, and I'll let you all compete.
With that transition, Jesus.
It's time for breaking bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Drier than a Cox and a BofA.
All right. Cass, all right, would you like to go first? I know there was some digging before the show here. I feel like people were coming prepared this week.
Okay. I am not allowed to guess Cass's pick for what it's worth. I am privy to it.
Mine is I guess technically it's a Universes Beyond token.
Get the out of here.
It's a short.
This one is a banger. This is one of the best breaking bulks we've had on the show in months.
DJ approved.
I've already made like $100 off this one.
Minx and Boo token.
I don't know if that's a Universes Beyond card.
It's a D&D card, which is
just
technically
Boo,
part of
right?
their Universes Beyond. It's just Boo, yeah. Do you have any guesses, Jason?
Remember, everybody, here's our Fine Notes 101 tip of the day. If the token is made by a mythic, that means the token is inserted at the same rate, and it's going to be rarer. And for whatever reason, tokens are like the one thing Wizard doesn't care about you making at home and using in a tournament, but for some reason, people still like the official Wizards tokens.
This is actually not a token relevant to being with a mythic. I'm just going to say what it is. It's actually 2 different tokens. It is Ravage and Laserbeak, the Transformers tokens. Now, you might notice that Ravage and Laserbeak have token versions that are 25 cents, and those are the double-faced ones. The ones you get in set boosters that don't have a different token on the back are like $7 or $8, and they are selling on TCG Player.
Oh, nice. I have a shitload of those.
I cracked a bunch of set boxes.
One of those rare times in Magic, but it's kind of neat, I guess, where what would ostensibly be the less cool version, in this case it's literally a less functional card, is worth more. The half-art wastes are another example. The half-art Zendikar lands.
That double-faced cards are more unwieldy.
Half-art Rise lands, maybe. Whatever.
If you were just a Transformers collector and you just want Ravage and Laserbeak and you don't want Power Stone, like that's a real thing, I think, too. Probably not a big thing, but it is a factor. It also might be an algorithm thing. Like, it's possible when you search Laserbeak on TCG Player, this token comes up first and people just click on it.
Yeah, I like the MTG. There's a thing where if you click buy this deck on MTG Goldfish, the TCG Player card optimizer would just add certain things to your deck or certain things to your cart and not others. technology is weird, and the people who click on that aren't the kind of people that are price checking their $8 tokens.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're probably buying like a $2,000 Optimus Prime deck or something.
Yeah.
And you soak him for $6 on that Laserbeak, baby.
I'm just saying, if you open set boxes, check your bulk, because like this is truly a break in bulk.
I have stopped buying collector boosters.
Same.
Why? They're fun.
Because they're full of foils, and foils are garbage.
True.
Yeah. Like it's bulk I can't even put in an instant collection.
Listen, here's where I'm at on collector boosters. Because I've actually had some amount of... If I can chase something actually cool in them, or if there's a good cycle, that's good. So, like, the new Capina ones, I was into. Because if you get a Triome, you're happy with that for the rest of your Magic playing career. The Dominaria United ones, I'm a little less excited to get a Shivan Reef. Like, as cool as the Shivan Reef is, you just don't play Shivan Reef. So, that's where I'm at. Like, I think that the new Capina have 5 Triomes that you can get in full art foil that you're always going to be happy with are the kind of collector boosters I want to get in. More so than necessarily chasing, like, whatever, the 1 or 2 cards that might be great.
I am the cold-hearted realist in that my mode of operation with collector boosters is to sell them to whatnot streamers.
Fair. I actually think WotC is aware the collector boosters kind of suck, which is why every set has had something to drive it home. Like, Dominaria United had Legends cards, which I think were too rare to make it worth cracking lots of boxes of. But I think the serialized cards are kind of the perfect sweet spot of, like, I know, like, 10 locals who've opened a serialized card.
They're masterpieces. They're masterpieces.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, honestly. Well, and that's a good point, DJ. I mean, they are masterpieces, which we all said was great for Magic. For people who aren't aware, when Magic was really booming around the time they did masterpieces, what have it in 2015 or whatever, right? They had a big problem with just the cost of even Standard. Standard was like $500 to $1,000.
The Jace Friends Prodigy decks were breaking 1,000.
Yeah, and one of the ways to bring down the price of cards in Standard was to put masterpieces so that the value in a set that can be printed as much as printed to demand is that some of the value would get soaked up by the masterpieces and make Standard cheaper into. And then they promptly blew the door off of them and did way too many, and then they stopped doing them altogether. And we've had a very long road since, and it seems we're right back there with serialized cards in collector boosters, which is fine, honestly. Right? Like, the serialized cards to me are awesome.
They're very good. The fact that all of them are unique one-of-one items, I think, is sweet.
Yeah.
The fact that
the print quality's bad.
I think it's cool. I think the fact that there are so many misprints of them is kind of cool. I own a couple of them because I've been buying them.
I'm picking up someone selling, I don't remember what number it is, but a serialized Blackblade Reforged. And I'm picking that up because, hey, that's a sweet commander card forever, right? Like, and that serialized version feels like having a masterpiece. I
really wanted that crimped Key to the City I saw on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's sold for not that much, I think.
I know.
I opened Dominaria United Collector booster boxes until I got my Legends card. When I opened my $3 Legends card, I stopped opening those boxes and regretted my decision. But I did have a $3 Legends card. It was neat. Anyway, that's enough of that. DJ, what do you got for your breaking bulk?
All right, my breaking bulk. I'm not even going to do a guessing game. I'm kind of bored. My breaking bulk. This is specifically for Corbin. It's
breaking the rules.
Just the gambler's fallacy, I guess.
Love it. Never met a fallacy I didn't like. Let's go.
You never met a fallacy? That sounds like bull.
My breaking bulk is an Avacyn Restored Rare. That is close to $1.
One printing, I assume.
Just so you all know,
that's a good question.
DJ tried to break the rules of this game, and we said no, and that's why we're doing a second take. We will have the rules followed.
My breaking bulk is over $1, and it has one printing. You're correct. This is the only printing of this card, and it is roughly $1 market price.
Riders of Gavany.
No. Good guess.
Man, that would have been
Thalia's
so good
Lancers?
if I nailed it.
What? It was a white
Thalia's Lancers
rare.
was Eldritch Moon.
Oh, a white
That makes
rare in
sense.
AVR. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't say
it's
white. I
white.
did not say white. I did not say
Is
the
it-
color.
It's just no reprints.
Oh, I
you
just
said?
guessed. Riders of
It's
Gavin.
the Angel, the freaking. I mean, that's not Help Ravens Restored. Herald of War.
No, I think that card's like more than that.
I think it is more than that.
Is it the
Rec-
demon that you draw a card when a creature dies, or the guy that draws a card? When you play
Harvester of
creature?
Souls, also a good guess, but no.
What about the
You
green
said it's
one?
a. Wait, hold up. I thought you said it was a white card.
I
You
did not.
didn't.
I don't think I said white.
Oh,
What
it's
color
like
is-
Just
rare?
immediately guessed white.
Is
Cards.
it
White-
Fight Bear or is it Druid's Repository?
It is
What-
neither of those cards.
There's
This
no way
card-
Druid's repository is only.
Can we
$1
ask
after
DJ the color?
I will
Please.
give you that. I'm not.
Mercury.
If I give you the color, I think it gives it away, but I'll say it's 4 mana. Is that good?
Okay. Yes.
Is it the Atlas?
It is the Atlas. Otherworld
Otherworld
Atlas.
Atlas? That
It is
card's
the build
fun.
the Howling Mine. You can tap it, put a charge counter on it, and then from there on you just proliferate onto it, and then you tap it to draw. Every player draws a card for each counter on it. So it's a little proliferate Temple Bell Howling Mine. There's a few different variants of these that all go in the sort of group huggy Turbo Fog commander decks where you deck them by making everyone draw a bunch of cards. Or you can do really silly stuff with Narset, like the War of the Spark Narset, and just make people hate you. I list these for $1.99 on direct, and they sell sometimes. And you should not let them sit in your bulk rares, even though it only has 1 printing.
I probably sold like 100 of these for $0.10 each, like 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, we all did.
I think I just sold DJ a bunch of these for $0.10 each.
That's why, yeah, they went through the Roka, and it's the net
The
batch.
Roka.
This is from that batch. I grabbed a bunch of bulk rares. I was like, oh, these.
The
these
Roka
Oh,
makes an
rub it
appearance.
in.
Check it off your bingo
See,
card.
You rubbed it in.
he likes the Roka now, but like it's gonna take more and more to get that next hit. He's gonna have to crank the ceiling down to 10 cents, and then 9, and then 8. It's pulling out 3-cent cards, and he's like, ah.
He just sets up the Blueprint 2.0.
Yep. That you
Give me anything my Roka's capable of picking. If a suction
my
cup will stick to
gosh.
it, send it to me. I just
Jason,
want to sort everything.
you're gonna love my pick. Your Roka's gonna love my breaking bulk. But Jason, why don't you go ahead?
I have a common from Modern Horizons 2. And
Does
it's like 50 cents retail, but
Does it have a color?
no.
Oh. Brainstone?
It's a creature.
Is it the Mirror Enforcer, like the 4/4 Affinity?
It's not. This is its
Whoa.
first printing.
Well, it's the
No.
Salamander, right?
That's what I guessed. That was my guess. Was the new Mirror Enforcer?
Oh, the new Mirror Enforcer. No. No, indeed. It is an artifact creature.
Colorless creature.
Is it a changeling? Is it like a colorless changeling?
Oh, is it Masticore?
No. This is a common.
The lesser mass. So is it the What is there like a 1-drop changeling?
That's what I just guessed, Corbin.
This costs 2
is it?
mana, and people are playing worse versions of this card still.
It's Horizons 2, you said, right?
Yeah.
I don't know a ton of comments from this.
Okay,
Yes, I don't know
people
if I
are playing
remember.
Silvermere and Leadmere like that.
Oh, it's
Oh,
Mana
Ornithopter.
Damners?
Ornithopter.
Ornithopter Paradise, baby.
Ornithopter Paradise.
Duh.
That's cool.
It's I still see people playing Mirror, which are just bad Ornithopter Paradise. If you have more than one color in your deck, the O2 flying is better than a 1/1 any day of the week.
Have you considered
this card's great.
Plummet.
Have you considered that the original Mirrodin mirrors look great, though?
They kind of do. The iron one looks dumb.
The silver one looks amazing, though.
The silver
Silver
one
one's
looks very
cool.
good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The white one looks
Gold,
very good.
I don't get what's going on with gold. Looks like it's in some grass or something. I don't know.
I was really just thinking of Silvermere when I said that.
The gold one should be a multicolored.
Silvermere looks like a Silver Age Batman book cover.
Gold
Yeah,
mirror
that's
is a
awesome.
gold card, just for the record.
What's that?
Ornithopter
Gold.
Paradise is a great pick.
Yes.
Yeah, don't bulk those out. It's
All
gonna be
right,
$1
listen, I have a
probably.
surprise for you all here.
Oh no.
I've kept this to myself. It's time for the segment within a segment, and this is the MTG Stocks segment.
Wait, you nested it? Well, you made a content turducken?
You made a Russian nesting doll out of a podcast.
It's the
People
segment
say
within a
nobody's
segment.
innovating within the a bunch of white guys and microphones, but we have a white woman now. And we're doing nested games. We did it. We innovated. We're the most innovative podcast there is.
All right. So if you don't know, the MTGStocks game, patent pending, is where we
Somebody
take a
gave us a
cycle.
good name in a YouTube comment, and I forgot it, but it was pretty good.
Very helpful. Very helpful.
Do you remember the
DJ.
person's name to give them credit?
Well, it's MTG stock segment until DJ goes back to that YouTube comment at least. But all right, here's the game. We give you a cycle. You try to put them in order of least expensive to most expensive. I'm gonna hit you all with Theros Beyond Death basics.
Ooh, okay. This is fun. I think it's plain.
Is it an average of the 3 different arts, or is it?
No, it's all the Pokemon ones, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
And they're really
Oh,
cool.
okay.
for
I
the-
think Swamp
for
is a
the
lot
fourth.
on
I
this
love
one
them.
for some reason.
I think Swamp and Forest are very high up. I think
Because they're
Mountain.
very dark.
I think Mountain and Plains are still very bad, but I think Forest is like the dark horse here.
I would say
For reference.
Swamp, Forest, Island, Mountain Plains is like pretty safe.
I'm with Cass.
Okay, so starting
Forest,
at the
Swamp, Mountain, Plains, Island.
That's fair.
No. Island, Plains, Mountain.
which one do you think's the most expensive there, Jason?
Swamp. Because everyone else said Forest.
No, we said Swamp.
We said Swamp.
Oh,
yeah.
well then Forest.
Okay, yeah. Cover
So-
our bases.
I want to make sure I understand this correctly. None of you all chose the most powerful basic land in Magic.
Is it
Correct.
Plains?
Well, because those islands don't look that good.
The islands are the most expensive.
Wowzers.
It's like
Okay.
the obvious
$2.
answer. I got.
They usually are, so that's why we kind of.
I understand. There was no trick here. The forest is number 2, and the
Okay.
mountain is right behind it. Those are both about $1.50.
The swamps are bad on the...
The swamp
Alright.
is right there, and then the plains.
Is it 'cause
But the
everything looks
plains-
like a swamp?
Listen. The swamp is pretty close to the mountain and the forest, right? Like it's it's like the island's the top tier. Then there's a tier of the other 3, and plains are their own bottom tier.
Crazy.
That's all.
For some reason, I remember the swamps being expensive, but it might have been the foils that were pricey.
So, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, I sold 3 Guru basic lands this entire weekend
Nice.
to different people. Like, they're all different people. It wasn't one person getting them. It was just like I had 3 transactions that involved Guru basics leaving the booth.
That's
so you made
Eternal
money
Weekend
off
for
of
you.
a transphobe's art. Great.
That's Eternal Weekend. Like people just buy Guru Basics Eternal Weekend. Like, that's always kind of been true. Like a lot of people want to buy those things in person, and it's like if you're buying a $600 basic land, you're gonna want to look at it.
Oh,
for
Cass.
condition first.
Cass. The
That's
islands were
right.
above 1,000 apiece.
Sure, I'm just like saying 600 is like the lowest,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's just still just insane to like think about.
I
just
think it's
that.
really funny that Drew City cut up one of each Guru to make a 3D card for Gathering Magic like 10 years ago. And the comments
is
were just
kinda
people
funny.
like, how could you do that?
You can't
I love
deface a
that
magic card.
energy.
People
Just
hate
like,
it.
"Here, I'm going to carve up a piece of history and there's nothing you can do about it.
Wait, so like my Gonti deck?
Yeah, well, at least you're not to blame for that one. That's what makes the Gonti deck.
My cat
People-
a magic card worse than I've ever seen a magic card gift. It was creased in 4 spots. There was like a little diamond shape in the middle of the card, and the rest of it was just creased.
Was it a good card? Did it matter?
No,
Or is it just
we were just playing Jumpstart.
proof of concept? Yeah.
It was a thriving mountain or whatever that's called. Thriving. Peak.
Was is the key word there, yeah.
Yeah. no,
Well, the
it's,
reason I was looking at Theros Beyond Death is because I wanted to ask you all, for Breaking Bulk, what the most expensive common is in Theros Beyond Death. And obviously, you would have said the lands. So there we go. We got him out of the way. So not
No.
counting the lands,
I wouldn't.
what do you think the most expensive common is in
I think
Theros Beyond
the
Death?
escape graveyard spells uncommon. I think like the graveyard hate.
Yeah,
the black-
there's also Destiny
is that
Stars uncommon.
spinner? Is that legendary creature that gives your legends?
If it's legendary, it's going to be uncommon. So
Yeah.
Or
that's
I mean
not-
the creature gives your enchantment shroud.
That's
and makes a
like
land
a
into
$4
a
card,
creature.
and it's an uncommon.
Oh, it's
Yep,
uncommon.
none of those are commons.
The most expensive common in the set
I'll tell you
is
this.
it Omen of the Sea.
Nope. I'll tell you this. It's a black card. And I checked.
Is it
I
Grey
checked-
Merchant?
Gray Merchant.
Nope. That's an uncommon. I checked to make sure this was on buy list, which it is.
This was like
It's-
very beginning of COVID.
I never would have gotten this myself. It's a 50-cent card.
Okay.
But it is, I mean, it's the most expensive, the only common, probably this and Omen of the Sea, and maybe Heliod's Pilgrim are probably the only commons that are picks from this set. And even that's pushing it, obviously.
Well, even DJ's Roka doesn't know this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna know it when you say it. I'm curious.
I didn't know what it did per se. The answer is Mindrack Harpy. The 4-mana 3/2 flying enchantment creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player mills the top 3.
Huh.
I am not
I've
picking
like
these.
played that limited format, and I don't remember that card.
Like I said, I
Was
don't
this
feel like
only
I
in
played.
set boosters
You don't
or some
play
bullshit
this.
like that.
Yeah, what's the collector number on it?
No. This is a real card. You just didn't play it. Did you ask for the number?
Well, because the collector number, if the collector number is like 6,000, then it's in set
It's
booster.
276. I think it's really small on my screen.
That's legit. That's a black card. Wow.
Anyways, yeah, I don't think this was good in limited because it was I don't know. It was probably fine, but I also don't recall playing it that much. That was a lot of mill. Like you could mill out pretty quick if you did something like that. But anyways, yeah, I checked. It is on buy lists.
No, this is a set booster card because if this card's not in limited, or it's not in the set. It's in like a precon or something.
Was it in the Planeswalker precons? It might have been in like the
right, because
precon.
if there's
This is
no
just like a normal
slash
card.
because normally it's like 135 out of 274 or something, but it's just 276.
All right, man.
Yeah, like if you look at Blood Toll Harpy, it's 129 out of 221. And
I guess
Mausoleum Harpy is like 078 out of 196. So
Yeah,
like,
it looks like it came out of a Planeswalker deck.
yeah, so there is a weird supply issue, which is why Cass doesn't remember the cards from limited.
Interesting.
I'm not crazy.
I thought I did remember this card, to be honest with you. I played a lot of that set. It's probably just because it looks like every other enchantment creature in that set. Well, there you go. If you find some of these...
I mean, yeah, this like adds a lot of cards to graveyards. If you're playing Sir Conrad, it's just going to do a lot of stuff on a budget.
Yep, it's right there at the bottom of the list, but it makes it. And you know what? When we nest segments within segments, we all learn so much. All right, main topic tonight. We want to have a little fireside chat with all of you. Wizards had their fireside chat. We talked about it at the top. A couple takeaways from it. They said that there is no evidence, unlike what BofA claims, that Magic is being overprinted because products are print to demand and they only print as much as demanded.
So as a reminder to everybody who didn't listen to the episode from a month ago or so, the BofA article was not like a giant series of conglomerate people making expert analysis. Yeah. It was like one guy writing a thing on the BofA Bank of America website as an opinion, right?
Correct.
So it is not like...
But it was attached to a downgrade.
Correct.
It was an explanation for a double downgrade. It wasn't like...
And where is that stock? That stock's gone up since then. It's
The stock has gone up since then. That's correct.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I'm not saying that the
I don't think that means much, but so look, this is still the fallout from this because they spooked the market a little, whatever you want to say. And obviously it's something as players we've been talking about. But so this is what they felt like they needed to address it, and they say that things are not overprinted. They say that Magic players basically fall into buckets of either new players who played for less than 3 years or players who have played for more than 10 years. So if you're in the in-between there, I guess you are the 1% here. Good for you.
So 3 years ago was Throne of Eldraine, which means that
Arena is the big thing, I think.
Yeah, but the player acquisition from 10 years ago was Return to Ravnica, so anything from Return to Ravnica to Throne of Eldraine, there was just a very low acquisition level of new players. Yeah. Which means that Duels of the Planeswalkers failed, which means that all of these just on-ramp attempts were just kind of poo. I guess. Battle Bonds.
The way they put it is they said they saw a plateau in their player growth around 2016, which would have come after all the duels and all of that stuff, right?
That was the standard ban period, right?
Kaladesh, Aether Revolt.
Yeah.
Shadows,
6 or 7
Elfish
cards
Moon.
got banned, yeah.
Well, the way they phrased it, and this is Hasbro talk, is that they catered to the competitive audience and they basically capped out that audience. And then as they focused on a casual audience, Commander is played by 70% of players in their estimation. They tripled their business over the next several years. Now, obviously, that comes in a lot of different ways, but they're saying they split their audience up into casual and competitive, and it's all the casual stuff that's driving growth, and that Universes Beyond is key to the future of the brand, which they envision becoming a $1 billion brand for Hasbro. So I don't know. Take all of that for what you will. Their pushback was expected. That's that. I don't know. Is there any takeaways from that for you guys?
No. Because we don't know.
I have somewhat of a takeaway. I think that WotC has gotten very good at both being extractive and also expanding. Mm-hmm. They are getting more players all the time, but their whales are getting bigger. Things like serialized cards, Legends cards, all do that. And I think that they are really trying to bolster expectations before we go into a recession. Like, they really wanted to secure their fan base as much as they can before things start getting financially hard, because when it comes time to pick which hobby to drop, they wanted to make sure the people that they had were there were more of them and that they were in deeper, so if they scaled back, they would still be in.
Yes.
I think all of the language they've used for this kind of indicates they're just hedging, and they're getting ready to hunker down for a period of economic hardship for their consumers.
And we'll see if that's true. That gets into a lot. There's inflation as a problem worldwide, blah blah blah. In the past, Magic has been, I'm not going to say recession proof, but I mean, you look back to 2008, Magic did very well in that time period. But it's actually, even I think from then to now, a very different market for the card game going audience, right? Like, if the option isn't, well, I can go out to a bar, but I can't afford that, so I'm going to play Magic with my friends at home. Well, that's now the option is like, well, do I spend all this money on Magic cards, or do I play any of the dozen good-ish free-to-play games, when it comes to card games, right? So, yeah, it is definitely a different market.
One thing that I want to focus on for a minute, in light of all the overprinting stuff too, because this is related to that. People think there's clearly a lot of player feedback of sets are coming out too frequently. A lot of that is from people whose entire livelihood is based around the game, which is understandable. There's the Oreo thread that we'll link in the description. It's very funny. By MTG Data Science, which is an account you should follow. The most valuable commodity in 2022 is a person's attention. Mm-hmm. That's such a as you scroll, as you think, you are the product. We all know that we're the product of a lot of things when we're on Facebook or Twitter. We are the thing being marketed to. But your minutes of attention and the time in your day that you can't get back ever, no matter what, that is the most valuable thing that a company can extract from you, even if it's not your money. Your attention.
Please don't turn off the podcast.
It hurts us though, because we're not meant to be shown this many flashing lights and poked with a stick this many times.
You're right. You're not wrong.
That's true.
It's deleterious to everybody's mental health. Where everyone has anxiety disorders is because we're being marketed to constantly.
The machine doesn't matter. It wants to melt us down and turn us into money as quickly as possible. And
God, this is the best time to do a Patreon pitch, right? Just hard, hard twist the knife. And on that note, Coalesce shirts. OMA store.
But you want a shirt though. You're where can I get a Brainstorm Brewery shirt? We're not.
It'll keep you warm.
We are filling a need. You came to us and you begged us for shirts. And we delivered.
It'll come to you in the coming water apocalypse.
WotC is fine with you, Jason, being I don't think we needed this product. This product is too many products. But if they print Transformers Universes Beyond and a certain segment of their player base goes ape for it and buys a ton of it, they don't care if the other people weren't happy. They got the other people happy. the statement of some products just aren't for you is true and should be heeded in some capacity. In some ways, it's not, a great thing. But like, I don't care about the Transformers cards, so I simply will not buy any of them.
Well, I mean, that's what I think everybody hits a point, because there were people that were fed up 2 years ago, and I was like, not every product's for you. But now it's like, one, I make product, and every product is for me.
Or you
But
mean
two,
content,
it's
you
just
mean.
like I haven't had time to enjoy anything because the next thing's already coming out. I
Right,
built one Kamigawa deck. I was planning to build multiple.
But like,
And it
you're not
just
the average
it got
Magic
away
player.
like another set was out in 2 weeks, and I was like, I never get to finish a deck these days. It feels like there's too much going on. I'm being marketed to so hard I can concentrate on anything.
Well, Jason, you're looking at Magic as a game, and you need to understand that Magic is a brand.
I'm very entrenched in Magic to the extent where it's my game, but it's also like my job, but it's also like my other job, and it's also my third job.
When I say that,
that's
like,
my
I want to
fault, but at the same
yeah.
time, I wasn't miserable like 2 years ago.
Well, look, what I want to explain by that is that you don't see baseball and think there's just too much baseball in this. But Magic is not just MLB. Magic is also Little League. And someone who's a season ticket holder to the Dodgers isn't going to care about Little League, and they're not going to say there's too much baseball because this baseball is happening here. They're going to care about what they care about, and they need to understand that that's how they're looking at Magic. It isn't one game meant to be played one way and enjoyed and followed in one way. They're going to make a million things, and you're expected to participate at your level, and no one can reasonably be involved in every
You're making the
baseball
argument
league.
I made until they made me feel like I needed to change my mind about it.
I just think it's a paradigm shift.
Don't
of-
argue
yeah.
with me. I'm just gonna wait for 6 months from now. Fucking sick of it too, and I'm not gonna say I told you so. I'll be like, you joined us.
But this is how I interact with it, is that I go on EDHREC once every 3 months, and I look at the past 10 sets, and I look at the most played cards, and that's all I really need to do in terms of feeling like I kept up or whatever, right? And I interact with it in the way I interact with it. You can interact with Magic without caring about a lot of the products if all you care about is playing Modern or Standard or whatever, or Arena.
I also feel like I'm missing out on a lot of stuff that I would play. I just saw the card Hurl Through Hell a month ago. Nobody
That
told
card's
me about
cool. That card's
Because-
cool.
We just
I
missed
think
it.
that's actively a good thing that you
Yes.
did not spiral through hell when it
Yeah.
first came out
I
and
was
discovered
go-
it 3 months later.
That's what I
Yes.
was gonna say. If
Yeah.
you're a new player, that just joins the game today, if you crack your first booster pack today, you have 30 years worth of like cards to consume, and like I don't think that person is expected to like consume them all at once. I think they're expected to consume them over 10 years. And like if you're a Magic player that's been playing 10 years and you like do a time skip, like a Naruto time skip, you come back to the game 3 years from now, like it's okay to not consume all of those cards. It's okay to just continue.
It's not
to discover.
okay for me.
Yeah, you are not the average Magic player. WotC doesn't care about you.
I'm the one who's complaining. I'm not advocating for anybody but me.
I understand that, but you are saying these things as declarative statements, and our listeners, the good people at home, like,
Probably got sick of it before I did, not after, because we were such corporate chills for so long. Like, hey, the
Here's-
product's not for you. Don't worry about it.
I don't know if my
Here's the thing,
baseball
like-
analogy worked, but it's better than this.
No, it
I'll
didn't,
tell you
because
that.
I don't
I'm
have
not
to write a
applying
fucking
a-
report about Little League scores.
I'm not applying like a moral judgment or like a quality judgment of like, is it a good or bad thing that WotC is printing lots of products? I'm saying they don't care what we think.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I know
WotC
that.
doesn't care
I'm
about the health of
saying
the
it's
game.
bad for my mental health that they don't care about us.
That's fair. There are lots of things I do that are bad for my mental health.
Do you do any of them for a living?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Next up, we are taking the initiative as a podcast and telling you what you need to know about Legacy from Eternal Weekend. Now, what do I know about it? Nothing except for that initiative joke I made. I got nothing else.
Yeah, so I was buying cards, and my go-to customer servicey pitch was like, haha, entering any dungeons this weekend? And the responses ranged from haha, yeah,
my
to
God. To like delete your account.
yeah, just like a Tim Allen grunt. Like there, So my opinion on this as a not player is that, and it's a kind of a short opinion, I think it's fun to play the broken MMO patch once in a while. Like, the Hogak patch was awesome. It's fine that it existed and was terrible, and then everyone gets to look back at it and be like, wow, that was a moment.
I agree.
So I'd rather have that exist and then be slapped down like a whack-a-mole than like something poison in a format slowly over months. But I'm also not a legacy player.
I would rather them print initiative creatures and it be the best deck for a brief period of time and then they ban them all or they eroded them all or something.
Y'all are coming out of Brainstorm. I can hear it. I can hear it in your voices.
I'd rather have that than like Force of Negation, which I think is actually actively bad for Legacy.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. Now you're talking about blue cards. Before you know it, you're going to be complaining about Brainstorm.
I'm very pro Brainstorm for what it's worth. I don't even play Brainstorm most of the time.
Brainstorm is the soul ring of Legacy.
So I have some thoughts on Initiative as like a concept and the decks and sort of the development of the decks. And I want to shout out one person in particular, Casey Lancaster. I don't remember his Twitter handle, but I'm sure you can find him. He's a main area Magic player.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Down below.
Main area Magic player who, like 2 weeks before everybody else, like the moment the Initiative creatures were on Moto, he was playing them and streaming them. And before that, even he was talking about it. And he said, I think the Initiative creatures are really good. I think the best way to combat them is to play a blue deck with Force of Will and Dress Down, or to be able to steal back the Initiative very quickly. And lo and behold, all the decks in the top 8 of Eternal Weekend were decks that were either playing the Initiative creatures or that could do those things.
Okay, and for full context, for people who... Because from my understanding, I've looked at EDH a bit, and none of the Initiative cards are particularly amazing. Nobody's building dungeon decks.
Because there's 3 players to attack you and steal the Initiative.
It is a fancy Monarch token. For those who are in the dark, haha. And so you have to enter the dungeon first. You have to add ETB a white creature, whatever that does the thing. So step 1, the first Monarch token event is that you tutor for a basic land and put it in your hand.
Yeah.
So it's draw a card. Next, you will put 2 counters. The next turn, you will put 2 +1/+1 counters on your creature. And then you will scry 2 or deal 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
So you just lava axe them. And this is Legacy, right? Like, you are dealing 5 when you play your initiative creature on turn 1. So you're lava axing them on turn 3 for free for no mana investment. And then you are making a treasure token?
I believe so.
And then you are winning the game after that. After that, you win the game.
You look at the top 10 cards of your deck and put a creature into play. It gets 3 counters and hexproof until next turn or something.
Correct. That you've listed off all of the terms on that card. You've made it to page 5.
And someone can steal the initiative by hitting you with a creature.
Yes. So it is a modern token that you fight back and forth over.
Yep.
But it has effectively a countdown 5 win the game on it if you resolve it to completion.
If you're doing something fair, you're probably going to lose if they get the initiative and keep it.
Yep.
It's actually funny because it was also played in Vintage. 3 of the Vintage top 8 decks were mono white initiative.
Yeah. Somebody on Twitter, Rodney, posted first match of Vintage of the day. Somebody went Black Lotus, Tundra, Seasoned Engineer, go.
Yep. So
wow.
I don't think the deck is unbeatable. Like, obviously, Eternal Weekend was won by a Blue Red Delver, actually by a local player named Jay Wojciechowski, I think is how you pronounce his last name. So shout out to him. But I think the initiative cards probably need to go because even if they're not, truly broken, like they warp the format in a way that's super unhealthy. And I think that shell's not even close to optimized yet.
That's almost certainly true.
There was a player in the event. I'll do one last shout out. Shout out to the Legacy community as a whole because they're awesome. But Daryl Ayers posted a deck list that was red-white initiative, playing Caves of Chaos Adventurer for 4 more initiative creatures, and then green in the deck was for Once Upon a Time, so it's even more consistent. It was really good at playing turn 1 initiative creatures, especially good at playing 1-on-1 and then 1-on-2, because if you play a second one, you venture another tier into the dungeon. It seemed really powerful, and I do think that we are not at the full conclusion of the initiative saga yet.
I saw Todd Anderson tweet that who sponsors our podcast. Another name drop. But just basically make it like the Battle Bond lands. This mechanic only happens if the game is multiplayer or started as multiplayer.
And I think that's a lot easier for the Battle Bomb ones because they were printed that way. I just think it's
I
a
would
really
love
shitty
to
experience.
see.
We're in a world where companion errata exists.
I would
agree.
love to see a fix that was just like, you don't even need to put the words on them. Just put in the comp rules that this is a multiplayer mechanic, and you just don't have to worry about it.
I think that is the most
Right.
elegant solution. If a solution needs to exist, that is
Because
it.
they're going to do more of these, right? More of these multiplayer. And the problem, I don't think people have a problem per se with, new cards being good in Legacy
Well,
or whatever, right? The problem is this is such an accident, and then it doesn't help that Gavin makes a tone-deaf post on Twitter that's like, whoop, designed this card, and now it's in the top 8 of Legacy, haha. Whereas people are like, y'all are fucking up our format, and you're not even paying attention to it. That's how a lot of people chose to interact with that sentiment, which of course feeds into everything else people are talking about Magic. It just feels like they just are throwing away whatever years of Legacy were, and Legacy, we hit Modern's a rotating format. I agree, if it wasn't for Brainstorm being de facto never going to get banned, they're going to make Legacy a rotating format because you're not supposed to have something like this come out and just do that, right? Like it's just not supposed to be that way.
I really think that Legacy players, and I say this as someone who's a diehard Legacy fan, are some of the players who fall most victim to the Tarmogoyf should be the best creature ever syndrome. Because a lot of players think Tarmogoyf and Mongoose and Delver Secret should be the pinnacle of creatures, but they think they want that, but they really don't. Magic would suck so much if that was true.
They want Kappa Cannoneers, baby.
Yeah, I mean they don't realize they do, but I think they do. And I do think that if you're really concerned about preserving the legacy of the game, the history of Magic, you should also be clamoring for why isn't Knight of the Ebon Hand good? Why isn't Goblin Lackey the best card in Legacy?
Yeah, I don't think, and that's why when people are like, you can't ban Brainstorm or whatever,
Well,
it's the whole format. It's with the nostalgia thing is part of it, but to me, it's just no format should have, with that many cards, should just be taken over by new cards that weren't even intended for the format in a week.
So Kappa
right?
Cannoneer
It's
is
just-
the perfect example of
Yeah.
the best card, the best
Yep.
commander card that enters Legacy and is very cool.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
it made Seeds of Innocence a $30 card, which is awesome. Not from a perspective of I sold all of them, which I did, which is neat, but the concept of a card from Mirage becoming cool in Legacy because of a card from 2022 is excellent.
But more than that, even Kappa Cannoneer is a cool synergy card. Urza's Bauble sees a lot of Legacy play now, whereas it only saw play Fringe Bomberman decks. It made a new archetype. It made old cards more interesting and relevant. And what it does is ultimately very powerful, but fine.
Yep.
Yep. I like a 4, 5, 6 mana thing in Legacy that's really screwed up if you ramp to it versus.
I mean,
every-
Ragavans
What's that?
Ragavan.
versus Ragavan. Yeah.
Yeah, versus
Yeah.
just all 1-drop creatures and then tempo stuff.
I also think if it's cheap, it has to be very novel for it to be a Legacy card. Fiend Artisan's seeing Legacy play, and I think that's novel enough to be worth being in the format.
Not Elves. Elves is a very funny deck.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to print powerful things in supplementary products that are going to make it into Legacy, make sure they are at least interesting. The initiative creatures are very uninteresting, in my opinion.
Yep.
But I think that,
But also
I-
bans
this is-
exist. That's
it's
why
a-
they're not super worried about accidentally ruining a format nobody really plays.
I mean, we
Because
hear
they can
that. We
just fix
also
it with a ban.
We also just heard him talk about how they hit a player plateau right at the period where they had terrible standards and had to ban a bunch of things and change rotation. So, I don't know. But I think, to me, what the vibe was, it's just that the idea that it was just accidental. And it just, there's this, especially when you're on the internet, right? There's this weird legacy divide. It's the legacy players feel like everyone's constantly coming for their thing versus commander players who, it's all just a thing. And yeah, I mean, the idea that legacy is getting quote unquote ruined or going through, a bad period, bans are going to be necessitated because of some cards that they printed for multiplayer that aren't even intended to be played in legacy. Why are they legal in legacy anyway?
Cards
That's, I
being
think, a lot of
mistakenly
the
cards being
thing.
accidents is good game design. Like True Name Nemesis being an oops is good game design.
Yeah. It's also funny because, like, I remember people were saying, you gotta ban True Nemesis, you gotta ban Leovold, and those cards aren't even playable anymore.
Yeah.
True Name Nemesis is $1.
I actually, weirdly enough, think True Nemesis is the best it's been in a very long time because of how good it is against the initiative decks. They can't block it.
I bet
so
it's good in
initiative.
I'm sure it's so good in Merfolk.
It's because all the other cards are so bad.
Yeah.
Look at me casting Lord of Atlantis in Year of Our Lord 2K22.
Just saying. All right, let's before we get out of
Legacy
here.
Merfolk, Corbin? It feels bad.
The last time it was good, Mental Misstep was legal.
I top 8'd and open with it.
Was Mental Misstep in your deck?
No, it was pre-misstep.
Oh, well, that's even funnier then.
I top 8. This is like my origin story, bro. I top 8 and open with Merfolk, my first ever
Were
legacy.
you
I
playing
don't know your
Corbin
lore.
Commander and Legacy? Is that how long
Yes.
ago this was?
Yes. And I made the finals of the SCG Open.
Oh, you couldn't
Play
close?
Merfolk in my first ever legacy tournament, asking people what colors their dual lands made. I
That
never
rules.
played Legacy. Like someone wanted me to go with them on a trip to Kansas City. It's like a 6-hour drive.
They're like,
They
I
wanted
got a
road
real
trip,
deck,
buddy.
but you can borrow my Merfolk pile.
That's exactly what happened. They were playing Zoo, and they said, you can have the deck I don't play. I have this in Merfolk. And they ended up playing the Zoo deck, handed me the Merfolk deck. I just kept winning, and now, I Merfolk. Like,
They
I don't
got
know.
shit on because they're playing Zoo?
I went to the Invitational several times with Merfolk. Like, it's a whole thing. Like,
Zoo was very good back then.
I'm so glad you didn't win the Invitational, Corbin. And make a goddamn Merfolk as your card.
anyway, this is the whole Merfolk origin story. It's great.
Would they even do another Merfolk? Because there has been a Merfolk as a player Invitational winner.
They'll redo tokens if you really want it.
Yep, I don't know. All right, well let's knock out some pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
And I'll go first because with this card you can name Merfolk. Maskwood Nexus. I guess naming Merfolk isn't a thing you can do, but they are Merfolk because they're changelings. Maskwood Nexus was in Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate after originally being in Kaldheim. There's several versions of it out there, but it's $1.50 right now for the cheapest version for Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, and it's starting to tick up a little bit. So, look, I don't know what you can expect out of it. The Kaldheim version of the card was about $5 before these reprints, so we'll see where it goes from here. But I think at $1.50, it's a pretty popular card to be sitting that low.
Cool.
Silence
Someone's
is
gonna fight
agreement.
you on
Let's
this
hear
one,
it.
apparently.
Yeah, it's an amazing pick. Let's go.
I don't remember how long ago it was, but I said most or all of the infect creatures, which is still probably true, but I will double down on that because we had a mechanic from Phyrexia all be one to got leaked, and there are things in there that will be relevant for this next pick of the week, so rip your headphones out of your ears now if you want to avoid spoilers, but my pick continues to be Skithrix the Blight Dragon, which I think is one of the infect creatures with the most room for growth because there are probably the fewest copies of this card out there. And it's a legendary creature dragon skeleton, so like waves hands around wildly.
With like chippy artwork too, there's so many reasons to love this card.
Oh yeah. I opened this card as a newer player in like 2010 or whatever, and it was so cool to just open. I wanted to know lore about it. I opened this card and was like, why are there no magic stories about my giant skeleton dragon?
That was the first block that didn't have a storybook in the Fat Pack too, wasn't it? Because Zendikar had one.
Yes. You're right.
Into the Mouth of Aquum or something was the name, right? God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where Nissa and Sora just go on a walk for 30 miles. Then Nissa's like, wait, you're a vampire?
I think that is the full plot synopsis, yeah.
He's like, you would think my voice would have given it away. That's how he talks. He talks like the Count from Sesame
Dude, don't
Street.
spoil it. I haven't seen the Magic movie yet.
It's a TV show, and Brandon Routh is going to be Gideon, and that rules. Because he was the best Superman.
My pick of the week
But
is
that's
a...
fine.
Who was a better Superman?
You know the answer.
Henry Cavill? The guy who wouldn't even shave off his mustache?
Yes.
Or is your favorite Superman Dean Cain because you live in Oklahoma?
No, it was Henry Cavill.
My pick of the week is a card that has already gone up in price recently, but I think it's still to the moon, so to speak.
To the moon.
Underworld Breach. So the card saw an uptick in price when people started playing the Jeskai Breach deck, which is proving to be maybe the best deck in Modern. The problem with that deck is it has sort of an arcane nature to how difficult it is to play, and people have shied away from it for that reason. But now there is a blue-red prowess deck playing it that gets to do things like play Underworld Breach with no extra mana, play some Mishra's Baubles with it to trigger prowess 3 or 4 times and kill your opponent, or turn your Mutagenic Growth plus some cards in your graveyard into a pseudo-hatred. So a much more accessible deck technically, and it plays 2 to 4 Underworld Breaches, so it's one of those cards that as long as it's legal in formats, it's going to be broken.
Yeah, we were talking before the cast about how this is probably the best deck in the format in Modern, in the hands of about a dozen people in the world who are really good at it, and nobody else.
Well, somebody posted about this card today on the Finance sub, and I think people are watching it. The stock is definitely depleting a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are going to start picking it up, right, as we continue to proceed.
That's a great POTW.
Yep. All right, Jason, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at Mechanized Production, but I'm not buying yet. Mechanized Production was a $10 card that was in Jumpstart, and now it is approaching $3.
Ooh.
You get this at $3. It's going to go back up to 7 or 8. So it's 5 right now. There's like 60 listings on TCG Player. Nobody has a ton of Jumpstart copies of this, but the price will go down as a result of the reprinting. But Mechanized Production is going to be in a ton of decks next year. Like Cyclonus, the Decepticon, is playing it. But like all the Urza decks, like a ton of decks are just going to play it.
This has always had a very high direct premium. Even when this was a $4 card, I listed them for 11 or something.
So Mechanized Production, if you get this around $2-3 after, Jumpstart comes and goes, I think Jumpstart is going to introduce way less supply than people think. And I think Mechanized Production will be back on its way back up to $10 on the basis of how good it interfaces with so many cards from Urza's block, which we are, I guess, in the middle of. So that's pretty cool. Jumpstart, it's not as good this time, but I like it a little bit more than I did initially. Maybe it's because of, I think Pirated Copy is one of the best puns they've ever done.
I do think that's one of the coolest cards to put in like a Relentless Rats deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
If you want to deck yourself, sure.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us this week, everybody. You got the holidays approaching. We hope you enjoy them. We will be busy, but you know what? We're still going to do our best to put out content. As Jason tweeted the other day, as a content manager, he said, the holidays are a great time for people reading and consuming content, but a terrible time for creating content. But we're going to do our best to make sure you all have some content to get you through the holidays, because trust me, having gone through a couple family gatherings myself over the past few months, I understand how it can be.
I've learned the best way to win an argument at Thanksgiving is to just bring out your Bluetooth speaker and crank this to full volume and just play it during dinner.
Last weekend, my family, extended family, had like a Christmas cookie decorating thing with the kids. It's great, right? Well, somebody's great aunt had died or something, and it was in their house, and they put the funeral on the TV and told everyone to be quiet so they could watch.
Excuse me?
And then they fell asleep.
Did you still be quiet and watch the funeral after they fell asleep?
I wasn't there yet. I heard about this.
Oof. Woof.
So I understand the
Well, you
need
gotta be
for holiday
you can't
content.
have any
that's what I'm
spoiler.
saying.
I get it. You want to, if you've never seen it and you're sitting down to watch the tape, you don't want anybody to tell you how it ends.
Good point. That's a good point.
Nobody thought they'd kill a main character.
I mean, I'm just sitting and watching that 3-hour video, waiting for the person to fall through the coffin. Like,
It was live streamed. Yeah, it's just an episode of Coffin Drop.
They didn't rig. Okay.
Oh, and on that note, everybody, thank you for watching. We waited a long time to have a hit. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week, everyone.
they didn't rig shit.
That was a good
They do
episode.
shit.